Should you claim your state pension the moment you hit pension age or wait and lock in a bigger payment for life? Not many people even realize that putting off their pension is an option. And with the state pension expected to rise above the personal allowance in April 2027, a lot of people are finding for the first time ever that the pension alone could push them into paying tax, which is why understanding deferring has suddenly become a lot more relevant. Today, we're breaking down what really happens when you defer your state pension versus claiming it early, when it pays off, when it doesn't, and what happens if you die while deferring. By the end, you'll know exactly how to decide whether taking your pension early is the smarter move or if waiting is the better bet. Let's get into it. When you reach state pension age, currently 66 and rising to 67, you don't get the pension automatically. You have to claim it, usually around 2 months before you reach state pension age. If you don't claim it, your pension is automatically deferred until you decide to take it. And the longer you defer, the more you get when you finally claim. But that increase comes with trade-offs. And here's something people don't know. Even if you've already started receiving your state pension, you can defer it once. For example, if you retire, then later go back to work and don't want the extra tax. Here's how it works. If you reach state pension age on or after 6th of April 2016, you're under the new state pension system. Under this system, your pension increases by 1% for every 9 weeks you delay. That's about 5.8% per year. If you qualify for the full new state pension of £241 per week from April 2026, deferring for 1 year adds about £14 a week, roughly £728 a year for life. Deferring for 2 years doubles that, around £1,456 a year for life. Once you claim your pension, this higher amount usually rises each year with inflation based on CPI, so the increase keeps its value over time. However, if you move abroad, annual increases don't apply in some countries. And remember, that extra pension is taxable income just like your normal state pension. Also, if you or your partner receive certain means-tested benefits like pension credit, universal credit, income support, or you are in prison, you won't build up any extra pension while deferring. And if you defer, you need to claim your winter fuel payment separately, but you only need to do that once. So, in simple terms, by deferring, you're giving up today's income in exchange for a permanently higher pension for life. Most viewers will be under the new system, but if you reach state pension before 6th of April 2016, the rules were very different. The uplift was much more generous, around 10.4% per year, almost double today's rate. You could also take the extra as a lump sum if you deferred for at least 12 months. Under the old system, deferring was almost always a big win. Here's where it gets interesting, because what looks like free money depends on how long you live and what your tax situation looks like. If you defer for 1 year and gain about £728 extra per year, you've given up £12,548, the full year's pension, to get that uplift. So, to break even, you'd need around 17 years of the extra payments. Meaning, if you defer at 67, you need to live to about 84 just to come out ahead. Deferring for 2 or even 3 years barely shifts that break-even point. When does deferring really make sense? There are usually only 2 situations. First, if you're still working or in a higher tax bracket, adding the state pension on top could increase your tax bill. By deferring, you avoid that tax while you're working. Then once you retire, you start taking the higher pension, usually paying less tax overall. Second, if you expect to live a long life, ONS data shows someone aged 66 today is expected to live on average to around 85 for men and 88 for women, meaning some people, especially women, have a stronger chance of reaching the break-even point. For most people though, unless the tax situation lines up perfectly, deferring won't give you a big advantage. What happens if you die while deferring your state pension? Under the new system, your spouse or partner cannot inherit the extra you built up. Your estate receives up to 3 months of backdated payments, and that's it. Under the old system, your spouse might inherit some or all of the extra, but only if you are married or in civil partnership at the time of death. So, under the new system, deferring is a personal gamble. If you die early, that uplift disappears. If you decide to defer, how do you claim it later? Very simple. You just submit a claim. You can claim online through gov.uk, by phone, or by filling out a paper form. Once processed, your higher rate starts immediately. And just to be clear, under the new system, you cannot take the increase as a lump sum. It only comes as a higher weekly payment. Let's look at a simple example. David is 67, still working part-time, earning £25,000 a year, and he plans to retire fully at 68 in 2027. Let's assume he lives to around age 86. He has two options: claim now at 67 or defer for 1 year and claim at 68. If he claims at 67, he receives about £12,548 a year from April 2026. Because he's still working, almost all of his part-time income is taxed at the basic rate. And from April 2027 onward, the state pension is expected to sit above the personal allowance, meaning part of it will likely be taxed unless allowances change. If he defers for a year, his pension increases to around £13,276 a year. Because he didn't take the pension while still working, he pays less tax on his part-time income during that final working year. When he starts claiming at 68, the pension is still expected to sit above the personal allowance, so it's taxed in the same way as scenario 1. The real difference is this: he gets 1 year fewer payments, 18 years instead of 19, but each year's payment is slightly higher, and he saved tax in his final working year. For someone like David, the financial difference is small. It mostly comes down to life expectancy and tax timing. So, should you defer or claim early? You might defer if you're still working, you expect to live well into your late 80s, you want a higher inflation-linked income later, or you don't need the money right now. You might claim early if you're in poor health, you need the income today, you'd prefer to invest the money yourself, you or your partner receive certain benefit payments, or you want certainty now rather than waiting for a long break-even point. In the end, it's a trade-off between certainty today and a bigger guaranteed income later, but only if you live long enough to benefit from it. So, would you take the money now or bet on a bigger pension pay later? Let me know in the comments. If you found this helpful, give it a like, hit subscribe, and share it so more people can see this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.